Yo, what is up, it's your boy Jay Johnny back here with some more Pokemon Pocket stuff. And today we have a new set that has been announced, and I'm super excited for this set. We have Eevee Grove, the obligatory Eevee set, coming June 26th. This is super exciting. We also got about a dozen previews. I want to say a dozen. We did get a couple alt arts of one of the cards, and two of the cards are essentially the same card. So, but we did get about a little bit over a dozen previews. So let's go ahead and jump into this. This is gonna be awesome. Start off, we have Eevee. Eevee has an ability that allows it to evolve into Pokemon that do not list EVEX as the Pokemon. So if you guys were wondering, if you guys saw this floating around, you were wondering why. If you're wondering why this ability exists, it's because EVEX is different from Eevee. For example, if you wanted to play Wishy-Washy, you could play multiple Wishy-Washy and Wishy-Washy EX over the limit of 2. So similar to that. It's similar to that. I don't even think Wishy-Washy EX is in the game. Is it? No. I don't know. But anyways, that's the reason why. So I know I saw a lot of people on Twitter just, being unsure about why this ability existed. It's just so it can evolve into evolutions that do not specifically list EVEX. I don't know why this needed to be an EX. I feel like this could have just easily have been an Eevee. I feel like all this does is you open yourself up to get one shot and lose 2 prize points for essentially nothing. This Pokemon is just there to be rare. I don't understand why it's why it's an EX. Not really comprehending that one. At least you could have made it a shiny instead of making an EX, because I mean, like shiny Eevee looks objectively better than regular Eevee. So I don't even like Eevee. This is like a set that I don't even want to go into. Next up, we have Vaporeon. Vaporeon has an attack that deals 70 damage, and it also flips a coin until you get tails, and then you for each hedge discard a random energy attached to your opponent's active Pokemon. It's an expensive attack cost, but it can be easy to set up with Misty, so it's not too bad, right? All you have to do is flip attach water energy turn 1, attach water energy turn 2, and then flip 1 single heads with Misty, and you're all set up to good to go. So not too bad. It also hit KOs most things with Rocky Helmet or Red. There's not many Pokemon that are going to be surviving 2 hits from Vaporeon. There just isn't. You're looking at 140 with Red. You're looking at 170. It's just not much is surviving. Not much is surviving yet. And Rocky Helmet onto there, honestly, nothing's surviving. You can 2-hit KO Giratina, for example. This will allow you to do 70, 40, 140, and then they'll KO themselves on retaliation. Very good card. It's not meta. I don't see this becoming meta just because its secondary effect is based off of RNG, but it is passable, right? Like, it's not, playing this isn't too bad. It's not the worst thing ever, right? Like, it's not like you're playing garbage, Next up, we have Jolteon. Jolteon's literal pack filler. If it's evolved during this turn, it deals an extra 20 damage. You do 60 damage on the turn you evolve into it, 40 on other turns. It's literal pack filler. I mean, that's all it is. I mean, it's just there to fill out a space and say that you had a Jolteon in the set. I don't know why you couldn't have done like Jolteon EX and made a better variant. I don't know. But this is literal pack filler. This is just pack filler. Next up, we have Glaceon. Glaceon has a Ice Blade, deals 50 damage to one of your opponent's Pokemon. It's good bench sniping, but you can't boost it with modifiers, so you're better off teaming up with Greninja so that you're able to do 60. You're able to do 70 to the bench every turn. Essentially, you'll KO every single basic, or Koryo's not even a problem anymore. You can effectively, I don't think you can snipe down a Giratina before it gets to attack. You go 70, 70. I think you can fall just short on that, but if you're going to be playing this, the best opportunity is to combine it with Greninja. I don't think this is super playable. I don't think it's super meta, but if you want to play Glaceon because it's your favorite Pokemon, combine it with Greninja, you should be looking good. Next up, we have Umbreon. Umbreon can destroy basic decks like Terra. 40 damage. The opponent's Pokemon is a basic Pokemon. It can't attack during your opponent's next turn. You can continuously do this. There is no limit on how many times you can do this in a row. No limit at all. Just keep doing it. So, very good for shutting down basic Pokemon. However, if they ever have the ability to switch out or you KO their active Pokemon, they get to start attacking. The Pokemon that they bring in is not affected by this condition, so the Pokemon they bring in will be able to attack, whereas the Pokemon that you had originally wouldn't have been able to attack. So make sure that you're aware of this when you're playing the game, because you want to make sure that you, and if they switch out and they switch back in, they're no longer affected by the condition either. So just keep in mind that your opponent does have ways to play around this if you do want to play an Umbreon deck. Odds are it's not going to go as easily as you think it will. Next up, we have Espeon. It's just a decent card. I mean, it's essentially Tapu Lele for the active. No, it's not even Tapu Lele. It's like oh my god, what is that card? I think it's Jinx. It's essentially Jinx. 20 damage to each of your for each energy attached to all of your opponent's Pokemon. Against Tina, it's probably a death sentence. Tina probably does like pretty much lose since you do ramp energy so quickly. 1 energy on top of that, it costs 1 energy, so it doesn't like really struggle into Lele. But I mean, it's one of those things where it's like you either hit really hard into decks that need that much energy, that need a lot of energy, like Gyarados, Tina, or you just kind of don't hit and you play into a deck like Crabominable, which just kind of doesn't care. For lack of better terms, it's like, oh yeah, you're doing 20 every turn. This is cool. It's a decent card, decent tech option. I could see this being played in the future if we ever get more Pokemon that ramp energy a lot faster. I could definitely see this being played. Next up, we have Leafeon. We got 2 different art variants of it, which sucks because this is probably the worst of the lot. Actually, no, Jolteon's definitely worse than Leafeon. Jolteon is 100% worse than Leafeon. Leafeon has the ability to any colorless, any energy, so it's just colorless. This attack does 20 damage for each grass energy attached to this Pokemon, so obviously you want to have that colorless, be grass instead of like water or something like that, right? And then it does a base of 10. So with Superior, you're doing what? Every energy is essentially 40 damage. So 2 energy, 80 damage, 90 damage because you're base 10. I mean, it's just not. It's asking a lot of setup to actually have a payoff. I don't see this thing like massive amounts of play. I feel like Celebi is probably better in this circumstance because Celebi does 100 on a coin flip for each energy. So I feel like Celebi is probably still better than Leafeon here, especially since it also has more HP. But I also think that Leafeon is a cool concept, and you can already see the synergies being made with the Leafy Cloak to make it sustain more, and then also Superior to make it count as having additional energy. So you see the synergies forming. I like it. Cool concept. So that's good. Next up, we have the call to action. Subscribe for more updates for all things Pokemon and Pokemon Pocket related. I had to move over the last couple weeks, and I didn't have my computer for a short period of time, and it led to me not being able to record anything. But now I do have it. So we're going to make sure that anytime we get news, you guys will get news. So, that being said, let's go ahead and continue with this now that the call to action is over. We have Flareon, who has very good ramp potential. However, its ramp fixes a problem it caused. Once during your turn, you may attach a fire energy from your discard pile to this Pokemon. If you do 20 damage to this Pokemon. Which sounds really good, except you have to get the fire energy into the discard pile to start with. Yeah, I mean, to start off, you're probably not going to do that easily without doing retreat costs, right? And B, it also does damage to itself, but thankfully it does damage itself before it ends the turn, so you can still heal it with like cards like one of the cards that we're actually about to be looking at in a minute, Eevee's bag. So you do have options to heal yourself before you pass the turn, so that you're able to sustain decent sized attacks, such as Giratina's attack, because this is 150, which is a very good radius. 150 is very good. However, it has an attack that costs 3 energy that discards 2 fire energy from this Pokemon for 130 damage. So you see, it's kind of like fixing a problem it itself causes. You have to discard the energy, then you can ramp back up to the same amount of energy. So you essentially pay 20 HP to do 130 every turn. So really is a risk versus reward. I think the reward is definitely there. I think the reward is 100% there. You could throw a Rocky Helmet on this Giratina even after some forms of healing, not every forms of healing. A potion, Giratina attacking into this with a potion would still KO itself, I want to say. 130, Giratina's 160, goes to 30, goes to 50. Yeah, it takes 50 because it's 20 from Rocky Helmet, 30 from itself. Yeah, so honestly, Flareon is very good card, very good card. Probably not the best. I don't think it'll be the best card in the set. I feel like there's a lot of cards that we're still have yet to see, obviously, because we've only seen like a solid maybe a tenth of the set right now. So roughly, give or take. But definitely a very playable card. You could definitely build a deck around this, and I think a lot of people wouldn't really blame you for it. I mean, Flareon is a very cool Pokemon, probably one of the best evolutions, second best if you ask me, but that's my opinion. And I know a lot of people are going to ask me what my favorite is, so it's going to be Jolteon. Jolteon's my favorite. Next up, we have Sylveon. It just draws 2 cards on Evo. That's all it does. Once during your turn, when you play this Pokemon from your hand to evolve one of your Pokemon, you may draw 2 cards. Not super impactful overall. It's just kind of there. I mean, if you draw 2 cards, hand control is so relevant in the game that, you know, filling up your hand could honestly be worse than not filling up your hand. So, I mean, Sylveon is cool. It's cool. It's cool, for lack of better words. I like it, but at the same time, I probably wouldn't ever play it in a deck just because of it just doesn't do enough damage. It only does 70 damage, which is, again, essentially the same as Vaporeon with less of a payoff, and, I mean, it's also a 2-prizer, so it reminds me a lot of Shaman EX back in the day, except Shaman EX was better, so that's how I'm personally viewing it. Next up, we have Eevee Bag. It turns 3 hit KOs into 2 hit KOs and mostly useless on most of the evolutions. A lot of the times, if you're doing 10 extra damage on pretty much every Pokemon that we've gone over so far, you're not KOing anything. There's not much that will be KO'd that wouldn't have already been KO'd. It will change numbers up with Giant Cape a little bit, but I mean, overall, not going to be doing it. You're mostly going to be using it for its second effect, which is a 20 HP heal, which, again, all of your Pokemon are essentially having massive low energy. I think the only thing this is ever going to be good for is Flareon. I can't see it being good for anything else. It can mess a little bit with the numbers on one hit KO trades, but overall, this is definitely not going to be that good in an EX dominated format. It's a really cool effect. You're going to stack attacks used by your Pokemon that evolve from Eevee, do plus 10 damage to your opponent's active Pokemon. Really cool. And then heal 20 damage for each of your Pokemon that evolves from Eevee. You have to choose one of those two. And again, I think Flareon is the only one of the evolutions that'll actually see play with this. Glaceon literally can't use this outside of the heal mode. A lot of other Pokemon, 70 is enough to KO most things, and 70 is the range they all hit. That, you know, like, don't evolve or aren't evolved or aren't EXs. So really, I think it's just the second effect, and it's just there for Flareon. We haven't seen anything else to say otherwise. Next up, we have Penny. You get to look at a random support card from your opponent, that's not Penny, from your opponent's deck, and shuffle it back into the deck. Then use the effect of that card as the effect of this card. It's a cool idea, but the randomized outcome will definitely limit the amount of potential you have. Let's say that you're going up against a non-EX deck and you hit red, or you hit blue and your Pokemon, blue's not going to save any of your evolutions outside of maybe Flareon from being KO'd, or Sylveon, but I don't think Sylveon really matters in the circumstance. You could definitely hit like another Oak, another Research, but I mean, at that point, like, was risking the gamble with Penny really worth it? And you can also hit dead things too. So you can hit a Cyrus from their deck and you're unable to use the Cyrus's ability. So I definitely think that this is a really cool idea and concept, and they're playing with the whole idea of online platform only now, so we can like mess around with effects, but I don't think the effect is really that good worth playing. So yeah, the cool concept, bad execution. Next up, we have Sweets Relay. I put these 2 cards together. Milcery has 50, Swirlix has 60. But Milcery, if one of your Pokemon Sweet Related during your last turn, this stack does 20 more damage, so it does 30 damage. And then Swirlix, same thing. Both of them do the same thing, so honestly not really worth much talking about them. What really matters is the next card, which is Alchemy. Alchemy, this tech does 40 damage for each time your Pokemon use Sweet Relay during this game. If you're able to resolve 4 Sweet Relays with the previous slide, which, I mean, they're all 1 cost equip. They're all 1 cost ramp, like, essentially, so all you have to do is get 1 energy on them, and then you can start attacking right away. You can essentially one-hit KO almost anything. Like, you're doing 160 if you're able to do it, attack with those 4 times in a row, and then Alchemy can kind of just sweep through the game from that point on. It's definitely a Christmas wonder. It's definitely a Christmas Magic Land, but, like, you know, hey, you know, that's what we're here for. That's why we play Pokemon, is for those Christmas Magic Lands. So that being said, here's the overview. There is no real must-haves yet. Honestly, Flareon looks really cool. The Sweet deck looks really cool, so I'm really excited for that. It introduces some really cool decks and tech options. I could definitely see Sylveon being a decent tech option. Not probably the best tech option, but I could definitely see it. Espeon could probably see some play too, but I feel like the fact that it has to evolve from a 2-prizer is kind of eh, you know, eh. I mean, then again, I think we also have a regular Eevee too, so I mean, like, you don't even have to play the 2-prizer. So I definitely do think that it does introduce some insanely cool decks and tech options. So, but before we come to a final conclusion on Eevee Grove, we're gonna have to wait to see if we can see any more of the set before we come to a full conclusion. Right now, it's looking like a really cool, fun, gimmicky set, but definitely not a must-have, definitely not a must-pull. Definitely is a cool content deck, cool content set though. So I'm really excited for that. If you guys are excited for that too, go ahead and comment. Go ahead and comment down in the comment section. Tell me you guys are excited for that. Sub to the channel because I'm going to be releasing a lot more news videos going forward. We're going to have a lot more gameplay matches. We're going to have a lot more coming out. So definitely stay subscribed to the channel so that I can keep you guys entertained. That being said, this has been Jay Johnny, and I will be seeing you guys later with another Pokemon video.